All right. Hello. This is Mr. Pokemon 907. Yeah, just gonna switch to main screen. We're gonna be playing some Pokemon Legends Z-A, just calm and collective. I don't know, this might be a little too low. Here is my get my remote. Let me turn this down a bit. That should be good. So basically, Pokemon Legends Z is out. Everybody's talking. They're saying how bland the game feels. You're just in this box, basically LUMIOSE City. I still think this might be a little too loud. Not sure. Not sure until I should do some video testing first, but not really my speed. If you end up not being able to hear TV, then that isn't the gist of the too good. Then maybe that isn't the gist of the video anyway, although it is a part of. Anyway, so Legends Z is out, and basically there's a huge change going on in the. Wait a minute. You see, I have 3. This one is mine. That I bought everything on. All these games and such. My little sister, when I first got my Switch one, she just made an account on here. I think the most it has is a Mario Kart save data, and that's it. Like just one race or something like that. And she was never really into video games, or she never really grew up with them. She wasn't too acquainted, didn't care much. And this one I have here for like maybe if I want to record some stuff and actually upload, because who's gonna just restart their video game to record on YouTube, right? So I have this for recording stuff possibly in the future. Little sister is my little sister, right? So I never erased that account, and this one is mine. All of my my virtual game cards are on. You don't need the internet to just right. So basically you have Ziezo, and everybody is on about the battling. It's totally fun, yada yada, but it's like it takes away from the game in a sense when basically you have no way to just leave that city. It gets repetitive. You're down in corners, hiding from trainers, just randomly picking up items. I'm glad that people notice that. I'm really glad. So what's happening with this industry is the video game industry, especially Nintendo. Not really much the other systems because they're like big boy systems. People say Nintendo is making that as well with the technology, HDR, VRR even, yada yada. But basically, especially the Nintendo games are more being, I would say, aimed or like focused on younger. Wait, what? On the younger generation. So it's like things that would be a bit more technical and stuff like that. It started with Scarlet and Violet, maybe a bit in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and it wasn't too bad then. But for sure now, I really am getting a bit, worried about what's going on. So people who grew up with Pokemon, is like very technical. You save the game and you battle a legendary, or you save, so that you can, if you fail, you can go back again and fight that legendary again. Or if you find a shiny Pokemon, you can save the game right there, especially same Scarlet and Violet, or this same game, Legends Arceus. But what they did know is, you could forget to save. A little kid, a little child might drop the system, stuff like that. Things could happen, and you would lose your save data. Now, someone, an adult or someone a bit older who has, they're more acquainted with the way they play the games, they're more careful. Okay, so I just had updated. Oh, and yeah, I basically made it to 7 star, 7 star. ranking in this, and I only beat two bosses. Like that's how I like to play my games. I'm very like I like to complete stuff, right? Exactly. There are different styles to play, and that's how I deal with things personally, right? And they practically made that impossible with Legends Z-A. Legends Z-A is very fun. Yeah, you can, like rush someone's Pokemon with a critical hit, super effective move, something of the sort. Oh yeah, this suit, you get this suit. If you have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl save data, and you speak to some lady in here, just thinking around my analog, that's not a glitch. Some lady here, and she gives you this outfit, really cool, and just I didn't complete this game as yet either. Like obviously, I just showed you. It's like I'm trying to fill the decks and stuff. I think this is the best game I could find right now to play, and although I would be jumping from this game to Scarlet in a bit when I change topics, kinda, right? So basically, this is the first topic: the video game industry and what's happening with the game development, right? People are saying that not much money was placed into developing Legends Z-A. It's like a lot of people who aren't too accustomed to see if I can find some, man. Like where the hell I'm looking for a particular Pokemon. Where do you find these things? Right? People who aren't accustomed to what you would call pro gaming, right? Gameplay, you're actually serious about what you're doing. You might have those specifics you want to pull off. You might need full manual control over your game, right? In this case, say you want to save your game, it is impossible. Like you can turn it off in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Of course, that game needs you might be a little repetitive here and there, but that game I would say definitely needs manual saving. Uh, it definitely needs it. So you find them in Ursa's Ring, Drawing Metal, Gate Jar Bog, Gate Jar Bog. All right, so let me just jump over here. Yeah, around this area. Right, so they made it impossible to turn the autosave off. You cannot turn off autosave. That might seem like something simple to newcomers or like gamer noobs, people who aren't really who just picking up something to press a few buttons is something fun, but no, not being able to manually save your game, the game automatically saves whenever, that is terrible, especially for a Pokemon game. I'm even thinking about not playing the game, to be honest. Like I don't have to. I am one of the Pokemon veterans. They're new megas, but who's to say this is the final? Or yeah, I definitely got something to check out in my settings. Yeah, change this to stereo. Alright, there we go. Yeah, this TV that I'm running on is very specific. Like, it has surround, but the technologies does another topic in itself. Anyway, we're playing this and we're speaking about Pokemon, right? Alright, so basically it is impossible now for you to manually shiny hunt and stuff like that and have total control over your save areas and stuff like that. That takes it away for gamers like me. Like totally it's terrible. And with your repetition and stuff, Legends Z-A is based on catching. Basically you progress in the game by completing the debts, Pokemon's debts. So like basically you can see here, if I look at the barrel, right? I barely did anything for these. I completed a lot of these others, but I just going here to I do have to catch a bunch of them, and I have like 8 more. I have to defeat like 8 more. So I'm just looking for some to rush with my infinite. And look at the so that's actually quite a bit that way. Yeah. These maps these maps ain't too simple either. Like someone might say it really, but I do know what I'm speaking of here. Games are like interactive. Look at this. Z-A is nothing like this. Z-A is mainly like a, say you wanted to advance a mechanic in a video game or something, right? Whoa, we made it this way, or is just, say you wanted to advance some mechanic in a video game and you're basically making like a beta for it, right? And you're testing it and stuff, like, let's say video game developers, and someone goes ahead and say, wait, we can make some money with this, we can make this into a game, and like, yeah, instead of just in here testing for hours, like, we could do something with this. Suppose that's the case. And there's more to it as well. Basically, the storyline, this is where I start to veer off now on topic. It's basically the same thing, but the game itself takes place in LUMIOSE, only LUMIOSE. There's nothing to say that they couldn't possibly release a DLC pack or something where you get to actually visit Kalos or something. That would be nice, but they never said that that's something that they're gonna do. Always finding my way up. So easy to get lost, right? So you basically end up locked in that area, and there's like a plot line. There's like a repetitive plot line that I see happening here. In Legends Z-A, the battle zone and stuff, they have like areas locked off and shooted off, and you end up in kind of like a maze. And we had that pandemic a few years ago recently, and it's like you were in curfew, you had to be in your homes by a certain time. I don't know if that was worldwide, but that's what we were hearing over the news. Everywhere you gotta keep inside, indoors. Like for days we were just indoors, and people were speaking about, yeah, I could tell that I wasn't going to, from there. I'm very, 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 if you watch my starting off Pokemon X, you would know that I'm safe there. I know what I'm doing. Got a good head on my shoulders. So basically, yeah, definitely this area. Find nothing else. Alright, cool. Alright. So basically, finding unknown and stuff. Alright, cool. You go ahead and end up traversing those mazes in LUMIOSE and just battling trainers, like on and on and on. It could get, people are saying it could get old fast because it's like there isn't anything much else other than that. You get like tickets and stuff. It's just you battling it out. Basically, Pokemon Legends Z-A is like Pokemon Battle Revolution, but on steroids. Like Pokemon Battle Revolution was like something like Pokemon Stadium that was on the Wii a good few years ago, and is focused entirely on battling. You have no storyline. You can still say it has a storyline, kinda, but it's like just you battling it out with Pokemon that you transferred from DS or whatever the case is. And yeah, you can't send them back to Pokemon on the DS. The same thing is happening here, even with Pokemon Legends Z-A. You can't send them back from Pokemon Legends Z-A to home. If they go on to Legends Z-A, it's permanent, right? Same thing. That was like a change in Pokemon Generations. You had no way of sending them back because the game just made the files too different. The mechanics, it made no sense sending them back because you could have some some problems, glitches, let's say, if you try to, or it could be too tedious. You got a program and the home or the game has to save like every single thing you change in that Pokemon and change it back. People could find a way possibly to even exploit that. So it is not going to be backwards compatible with Pokemon Home. It's like you send them up, they're there permanently. You could just hatch some Pokemon from an older game and send them to Legends Z-A, maybe some 6 IV, and it's going to be just about you battling it out. And the storyline now, right? They have these legendary Pokemon, and and normal Pokemon just going berserk throughout the LUMIOSE city. There's this weird aura situation going on that's affecting the Pokemon and causing all of them, or a lot of them, to go berserk. You team up with whatever and you stop this. Sounds familiar, right? In Scarlet and Violet, there's been like, that has an expansive story, yeah, but it's like basically you in the DLC you go to an area where the Pokemon are all in this kind of like dome protected environment, and they're all encased in that environment. They can't leave, and you can leave because you're like basically a tourist, right? And you in a sense, you just go to that dome and you catch Pokemon you couldn't catch in Paldea, right? They added Pokemon in with the DLC, and it's been really fun for people to, Pokemon that they couldn't catch before, added to the game with the new graphics and moves and stuff. But there's something really deep going on here. That's just me, I'm getting to it, right? There's something really serious going on here. So since Pokemon Sword and Shield, a lot of Pokemon since the first Nintendo Switch, like Let's Go, Pikachu, I would say practically every Nintendo Switch game has a bunch of Pokemon missing from the decks. They're like literally missing. There's no way to get certain species in certain games, right? And you basically end up like, I would say, missing out on those Pokemon if you don't buy the other games. People will say maybe it's a tactical choice, but companies, people, they eventually find some way to make sense of it in the actual story and stuff, and that's where I'm getting to. So these Pokemon are basically becoming extinct in certain areas, and my plot theory always is that Pokemon Scarlet takes place in the distant future after whatever possible apocalypse happens in the Pokemon world, and things kind of baited down back to normal a bit, and Pokemon that are still endangered, you can't catch them in Paldea. There's like some little damn island, and whenever you send Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet to, yeah, I did say little island, and that land is kinda expansive. It's a freaking island. Whenever you send those Pokemon to other games, it says from a distant land, and there's a hint at, like, sometimes Pokemon say in the Pokemon Home and stuff, the details went across space and time, travel across space and time, depending on how old the game is, whatever dimension, if it was from Game Boy Advance, to meet you here from Hoenn or Unova. You get the point, right? And it gives that same gist in detail explanation when you look at the decks. When you look at the decks now, it's like so scanty of Pokemon from other generations. Like, what happened to them? My guess is that something that they haven't revealed yet fully happens to the Pokemon world, and different regions. This could also explain possibly why you don't the region is not the same anymore. Maybe things are destroyed, the towns are not the same. It might make more sense when the black and white video games release, when the black and white remakes come out, if they do even end up making those anytime soon, because they did skip the Generation 3 remakes with the DS Black 2 and White 2, and then they made those on the 3DS, right? It was in line for remake on the DS. When you look at how the pattern and how they made their remakes, and it ended up releasing on the 3DS. You might get something on the Switch too, and Switch was a long wait. So yeah, it's so easy to just end up collecting items and in a sense spamming. You could be doing this for hours, right? This is the style of Pokemon play that some people prefer, to be honest. You get their decks full, and it isn't really focused on battling. It's more focused on Pokemon collecting and Pokédex data entry, because this is the ancient past of the Pokemon world and people weren't too acquainted with Pokemon as yet. That's basically the gist of it. So, it's flame mail. So basically, the Pokemon are going extinct, and obviously, you know, like these are things happening in real life too. There's like global warming, different events. Other things could be the cause as well, like external forces. I won't be going on that topic too much because some people could find it offensive, and you know, people have their different beliefs. Say that I'm one of those people who believes in nonsense. But anyway, in the Pokemon world, something is going on because in Scarlet and Violet, things are missing. Sword and Shield, there's like hints at civilization being a bit like kept to self. Then there's that language, maybe as an alternate verse, because they've been showing off like since Sun and Moon. Maybe these games don't even exist in the same timeline that the Black 2 and White 2 and games before Pokemon Black 2, Pokemon White 2 existing. Maybe it's an alternate timeline where some form of apocalypse happens. Maybe because of the Megastones, the aliens come down or some shiz. Maybe the Ultra Beasts. Something, whatever it is, this is my idea. It decimates the Pokemon world, and in certain areas, Pokemon like entirely Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's Sinnoh. That's the only. Those are the only Pokemon games that you can actually capture Pokemon. All Pokemon from Generation 1 through to Generation 4 and Generation 5 Pokemon, right? If you're catching what I'm saying here. Generation 5 Pokemon is basically the next Pokemon in line for remake. Generation 5 Pokemon Black, Pokemon White. And it is just too perfect to me that 1 and 4, all the way to 4, the main legendary in that game is like basically the god of Pokemon, the Pokemon that created the Pokemon universe, yada yada stuff, and gave breath of life into the first legendaries and stuff like that, blah blah blah. It's like a play on. Certain people don't like it. I would understand, like, is a religious taunt, I would call it. But basically, my idea is that Arceus, in a sense, in that land, right? Arceus in that particular land maybe saved those Pokemon. They're not on the surface. A lot of them still are missing from the surface, but when you go to the underground, you can actually find them in the underground. Maybe Arceus created that environment to preserve those ecosystems, right? And Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield, all those people still living on the surface. So many Pokemon are missing, gone. What happened to those Pokemon? Even in the real world, a lot of animals are just oddly going missing. Like, people like maybe generate them. We have technology, biotechnology that people use to try to bring back birds and stuff, and they just keep going missing. Like I said, I'm not going to go on to those topics too much. I don't want to offend, cause this to become a conspiracy video and get removed from people's algorithms on YouTube. You could barely see my video, have reasons. Anyway, it's happening. A lot of weird stuff. World change. Like, you don't even see ants like before. You put a biscuit or like a piece of bread on floor, the ground, ants would come rushing for that thing, like quick. But no, anywhere you go, you barely see ants. It's like the ants barely come up to the surface to like look around or some shit, and then they run off. It's crazy. It is so crazy. I just took out like 2, so like it's really that I'm focusing a lot on what I'm saying as well. So like this is more difficult than it seems. I should be able to just clear this out. I'm just running around literally. I should be focusing more, but this is a really gorgeous game, especially how I have these yeah, it's really gorgeous, isn't it? So you find that you have to end up then catching Pokemon from another game, and saving them in Pokemon Home because they can't even be, they don't exist in the game. Literally, they're not in the game's it's files, and that is the main, I would say, like, clue as to what's going on. True extinction by whatever's happening, right? And then in in real life, we hear about this extinction event, shiz, blah blah blah. So I'm gonna save this. I'm just running around anyways, and that could be dang annoying for some people. Although this is gorgeous as heck, and whatever the case, let me just save my game. A little child might not remember to save the game. First topic I had, and they would just turn it off and lose every Pokemon they caught and be crying and stuff like that. So they made it then that you can't turn off, but for me, that's a big issue. That's a big issue. So how I did that, and I still know to remember to return to my menu and save. A little 5 or 6 or 7 year olds' mind isn't too developed yet in that sense, so they wouldn't do that. But we're gonna jump over here to Pokemon Scarlet, and I was thinking about this for like a while, right? I was thinking about this for a while. Why the hell do we have so many Pokemon missing throughout games, right? And on top of that, I wasn't thinking too much of it. I was saying maybe the Pokemon companies being smart, and they're just giving people, making it a smart means to force people to, not force them, to kind of force people to show you something quick. To kind of force people to buy the different Pokemon versions, right? This event just finished the other day. I have them. Where did I put them? Yeah. This event just finished the other day, and yeah, I've got a power anklet on it, getting ready to down to 0 the Dragon Claws, because it was like EV training it, attack is up all the way, and ready to speed train it. These Roaring Moons, these Mighty Smart Roaring Moons, I have a really easy way to catch those, and I could have just made a tutorial video. I never did anything. I had my reasons. So basically, we're gonna go over here, right? This is Paldea. So this way, and we find the entrance, right? Yeah, we find the entrance to this thing. So no industry. There is no industry, real life or science fiction for fun world, that invests billions of dollars. I think in the storyline, the owner of this terrarium, they call it terrarium. The owner of the terrarium like kind of hints at how much money they spent on developing this terrarium, right? This dome for these Pokemon. There's no industry that invests this much money. I mean, look at this place, man. Man, woman, and child. Look at this place, right? You can fly. As a terrestrial, how to say extraterrestrials. I'm just playing on that, kidding around. As a terrestrial shard, right? It gives off energy. It generates like a unique form of energy that keeps these environs stable. In a sense, we have rain in here, you can have snow in the more distant part. Further up, we zoom out. So this is the savanna biome, then there's the coastal biome, then there's the polar biome, right? And then there's the canyon biome, different Pokemon in each biome. No company spends this much money on something like this. I'm talking about the Pokemon plotline now. I'm not talking about Pokemon Company, although they're doing similar stuff too. They have Pokemon parks and stuff, animals and stuff in there. That's a long story, right? But basically, there is no company that does this without a good reason. This is too much money. Why is it that these Pokemon aren't, in the open world, right? what happened? I think Zangoose and Seviper as a Zangoose outbreak in that area. This is crazy. When I saw this, when I saw the trailer for this the first time, I was actually, I was scared for the Pokemon timeline, the story. I was like, whoa, 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 this is a bad sign. I mean, little kids might be, oh, that's so cool. It's a dome and this and that and third. You can catch. But is a bad sign in my books because you've already got Pokemon missing in games, and then the DLC. This is the second DLC pack you get for the Scarlet and Violet. Then in this DLC, there's this dome, this place, right? Then in Legends Z, right? Not only are you limited to LUMIOSE City, everyone is literally under a curfew. That's technically what it is. You're instantly under curfew because if you are outside at nighttime, if you're outside, remember the movie Purge? This isn't really. I wouldn't encourage a child to go search that movie series up. It's like a movie series where the population is really high, and basically every year or so they initiate a purge where people just, is like a lot of killing and decimation, and you don't my voice and say it, right? It's not that. Pokemon World is very kiddie friendly, but it's basically hardcore trainers just running around on the outskirts of the city, and if you're caught outside at all, you have to battle them, get your Pokemon decimated, blackout, and it's like every Pokemon trainer for themselves, and you're out there, you raising your rights and stuff, but it is a freaking curfew. It is literally a curfew, like how it is with the pandemic that we had and stuff like that. These Pokemon are in a damn forever curfew until maybe the Earth is, they confirm that the Earth is safe again. They're living in here, and these Pokemon, they're going to be born in this damn terrarium and know nothing about the outside world. What if our Earth is the same way? You never know, right? Anyways, anyway, Pokemon right now is undergoing a massive curfew in the Kalos region, and they don't stop there. It's not only that, like, you can't run outside either. It's like they literally put shields up and barriers and lock off different areas and stuff, and you unlock them when you attain higher rankings, right? And you progress through. Now, you can say, man, that's like a smart something like a gym. No. Gyms, you just walk to them. You get your Pokemon leveled as good as possible. You raise the stats, you beat it, you go outside, you maybe buy a drink or two for yourself and your Pokemon. That's it. Then you go home, you rest, you do whatever you please. But in this case, it's like they're smartly putting the people in the Pokemon world on the dying curfew. And also, I saw some hints coming from trainers all throughout the game. Like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, it's the words you use. Like, people are not only excited about moving to LUMIOSE, it's like they're giving hints that LUMIOSE at that point in time is the best version of life that you could have. Or the food and the nice environment, and people are complaining about how simple the environment there is. Who's to tell you that the actual video game characters and stuff in the game, they have no way of making the tongue too advanced, right? Without the money to do so. So what they did, they created a program where they would attract and invite people to LUMIOSE City, that they can make enough money then to upgrade and preserve the human race in a flipping World City dome. Is the same thing. In the very beginning of the story, as soon as you go into the city, I would call her the vice president of LUMIOSE at that point. Her name is Jet. She gives there are those PSA, public service announcement advertisements, and she's talking about how they're going to improve LUMIOSE City. Is going to be the most beautiful place to live. It sounds like it. Why would you have to tell people that LUMIOSE City, even in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, doesn't look too bad either. Like when it comes to design and stuff, the tower in the center, why would they have to stress on the fact that it's going to be gorgeous, a nice place to live? Because elsewhere ain't too nice. There are Pokemon going berserk everywhere, maybe not just in LUMIOSE, and they even say like the first cutscene, and no spoilers, but the first cutscene, they're like these aren't heavy spoilers, no problem. Just details that you could easily find out in the trailers as well. That they're definitely gonna have to make sure that too many incidences don't happen within LUMIOSE. They have to find a way to stop it from happening within LUMIOSE, so it's happening elsewhere. This is like Pokemon World Apocalypse happening. And we've got a dome. I'm literally in a dome, man. This is like so creepy. This is so when you know the gist of what these things could mean. The textures and the scissor, it was like gorgeous, man. Oh shit. I could choose to fight you, I guess. So shiny. Gorgeous. Well, yeah, when you press the right analog, the camera analog in, like how the battles would like switch from one Pokemon to the next and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess it's because we're on a hillside, it's not working, but let's see if we can find a flat ground area and show you what I mean. When you press R3, you press the analog in after starting the battle with the Pokemon, right? Camera focuses down behind the Pokemon, like this. And when you pull off a move, is like how it is in X and Y. I prefer this, to be honest, instead of the just static cameras there and you're watching pull off moves. Then it will zoom in on that Pokemon, show that it's fainting. Kinda awesome. I prefer that. There's more dynamic, like camera angles and stuff, than just watching having the camera there like all still, Pokemon pulling off moves. But yeah, Pokemon Apocalypse. You made it this far in my video, definitely. Yeah, you're hearing it, and I'm from the island Barbados, and I'm accustomed to what you would call a simple, no, I shouldn't say it, no disdain, no disrespect, because I am Barbadian, but it's like a more simplified, laid back lifestyle compared to the hustle and bustle of any city escape, I would call it, right? And a lot of people here, yeah, you still have people playing video games and such, but the lifestyle and stuff here is a bit different, right? I would say indifferent, and it's like a lot of people move from other parts like the USA, Europe, South Africa, different areas to live on Barbados, and a lot of those people are people who seek the island life. They've had maybe generations, genetic generations of having been in city life, and they like the trees, the breeze, the no winter snow, none of that stress, and just sit back, eat some food, relax, go out. And there might be others who still have some sort of liking for life on the outside, and sitting down behind a TV, finding some time, maybe to you're inside is snowing. It might still be a sort of genetic. You might still like doing this sort of stuff and playing these games as much and stuff, and practice makes perfect, right? And it's the same thing for these Pokemon. I have a reason for that too. Pokemon, any living creature, like you lock them up for too long, or you put them in an environment that isn't natural to what they are basically genetically accustomed to. They're like underhanded, like I would say under the hood issues, psychological issues and stuff that could easily develop, right? Anxiety, stuff like that, especially after the pandemic. Humans had that issue, people had that issue, we had that issue, right? It could be the same thing here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a major plot in a future game or something. This gets a third DLC. It could happen. I mean, they paid the Pokemon company went ahead and made a Nintendo Switch 2 edition for this. It definitely possibly is not over for this game yet. I'm telling you, you never know. And Pokemon could break out or something. They could start going berserk. Unique stuff could begin happening here. But that's what's happening in the in the Legends Z-A. And I'm telling you, people, this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign at all. Wait, me get off. This is crazy, man. Since young, back to the living on Barbados and stuff thing, since I was a child, I was always like totally accurate. I was into like video editing and like writing and stuff like that, like making film. Very creative from like age 10, 11. And whenever I watch something, I read something, I'm like always on cue with where the story's going, right? I'm really good at this. So I'm telling you, I'm most likely correct here. It is, I'm not saying I'm not sitting in a flipping world Nintendo office right now and I'm making this video, but I am telling you, basically, right, that most likely I am correct, and Pokemon is gonna go way more mature than some people are expecting it. The plot is gonna get heavy, possibly dark. Some people might not like it. Like, look at how unnatural this looks. People's been talking about how when you play Pokemon Legends Z-A, right, you climb to the top of a run from you, Dang Zangoose. When you climb to the top of a building or such using one of those hollow elevator things, right, the hologram stuff, it looks unnatural seeing a freaking, because the ecosystem is not natural. Is the same thing happening here. So this is the gist. I'm about to end this video soon, because I got to my final point of proofing. I talked about everything rattling off. You have enough proof here, through what I said, enough detail here, right? So basically, they're in this dome, and they have limited areas. Like, look at this shit. You ever see this is a sauce butt, right? What the hell is a sauce butt doing on some rocks above water? Suppose it slips, it can't make its way back to land. Like, a lot of things, they're just running all over the place on a random, right? A freaking random. And the same thing is happening in LUMIOSE City. You find Marie sometimes stranded on rooftops. They can't get down. And maybe they're like totally excited when they see a trainer and it's like, oh, let's run toward him. Maybe he's gonna catch me and I'm gonna get food and stuff. Maybe that's the case, right? That is the case, literally. You see Pokemon in areas, yeah, like Sharpedo in the water and stuff like that. But then there are certain details that had me worried. I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but something is definitely wrong in the Pokemon world. And they're gonna reveal what is happening very soon. This Mega Dimension DLC, like how you're playing Pokemon Sun and Moon, and eventually you get through the story and portals just start randomly opening, and these Ultra Beasts begin to just drop in on Alola. That's basically the Hawaii of the Pokemon world, right? And you're like this ace trainer, you beat the champions and stuff, they give you a mission to go ahead and catch them so that they can study them. Normal Pokeballs don't even work on them as easy. You've got to use Beast Balls to catch them. It's crazy. And what alerted me, right, alarmed me the most about Pokemon Legends Z, right, listen to me, people, I'm going to finish this in a bit, this last bit of detail here. What alerted me the most is the fact that the company Quizarticle Inc. that created that basically created the Battle Royale system and all of this is going on in LUMIOSE, their logo for their company, that they're wearing the clothes that they have on the building, the main like Paris tower, I would say, is a portal. When you look at it closely, it's literally a portal. It's a wormhole. It's an ultra wormhole portal logo that they're using. So maybe they found a way to control the portals, maybe lock them off, stop whatever from coming through. And they need money, of course, to keep that system going. So then it's like, oh, we get as much people to come live here with us as possible and upgrade. and we preserve these humans in this little, not a dome, they're not going to call it that, or people wouldn't want to live there, right? But they have them on a curfew. Like, you can't go outside at night in LUMIOSE, or you're in the roughest of battles, literally. Rank B, rank A is the highest, rank B trainer could show up and you're basically still at W, or still at X, or still at flipping with rank T. And you'd get your ass kicked. You're back in your house. And you're like, I'm not going back outside unless you're some ace trainer. You make it true, that's what they're looking for. They want the aces that they could get, you know, the best study on what's going on with portals, and maybe give you missions to go through those portals and, you know, infiltrate, so that they stop the beast before they get through the portal to Earth, right? Sounds realistic. Maybe that's happening in real life too. I don't want to make this a conspiracy video, but maybe I'm on point here. But that's the case. That's it. Pokemon are in damn curfew in this game, and then humans are in damn curfew in Pokemon Legends Z-A. So my idea is, we've got people living. I could just quickly, you know, open my map and jump back over to Paldea. But when you look at Paldea, this is the last few minutes for this video for sure. When you look at Paldea, right? Let me go someplace that definitely should have a lot of people, right? Someplace like the school area, or yeah, Artisan. Let's play the Artisan, right? Let's go to Artisan. The area is still gloomy. This is the Switch 2 that I'm playing this on. So as much people as they could add as possible. They've got these fake Sunflower, not even real Sunflower. Sunflower is in this game, but DLC added. Very interesting, huh? And this place is so damn. Look at this. It seems, I mean, the way that I look at things, other people might not be looking at them the same way. He's freaking out all about this art and stuff. You know, the Shiva statue, I think that's outside the CERN laboratories in real life, if you know about that. Look at this shit. Same thing, huh? Suppose Pokemon is actually, or something similar is actually going to be real soon enough in our real world, and these portals and the technology they've been working on with the Large Hadron Collider might make this a thing. This is not me wishfully thinking, although I've been fascinated with Pokemon in a childish way when I was a child. I'm just being real, like, things are getting real, people. No joke. So, Pokemon having been curfewed in this damn area. Oh, this is Kid Kami. Oh, let me show you something for reals. So we go over here to Masui Town, right? There's a community center in Masui Town. We're the damn people. Why are you seeing so few people around here? I mean, it's supposed to be the Pokemon Center, right? Oh, how cute. Look at this place. So my idea is that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet takes place in the very distant future, like even after Legends Z-A, after the apocalypse. And people are back on the surface, right? Look at this. People live on the surface again. Pokemon are all around the place, but how much? How many? A land like this should be way more developed than this by now, right? Look at this. When you play the story, there's certain... I'm going to play these games and I'm going to give more in-depth detail, my analysis and stuff like that. I'm eventually going to release uploads, episodes, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details here, people. Right up the nose. Details. So, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Pokemon 907. Signing out. So, before you go, Pokemon in damn curfew in that terrarium, and then people in damn curfew in Lumio City. It's getting dark, guys. Laters.